The polished ambience of Charleston's upscale Magnolia Prime was abruptly shattered by a young waiter's sneering voice. "You people sure clean up nice for a diner crowd," Tyler dripped with sarcasm, his gaze fixed on the elderly black couple seated near the window. Dayla Carter, her composure a fragile shield, quietly adjusted her pearl earrings, while her husband, Howard, tightened his grip on the small, unassuming birthday gift bag in his lap. His voice, gentle and unwavering despite the palpable tension, broke the silence. "Can we see a menu, please?" Tyler merely chuckled, a dismissive sound that grated in the quiet room. "Menus are for paying guests, not observers." Nearby, other customers shifted uncomfortably, pretending not to hear the blatant disrespect that hung heavy in the air. Yet, one man, seated by the bar in a charcoal grey coat, had heard everything. He had arrived early, an unseen observer, watching the insidious drama unfold. Underneath his coat lay something they weren't ready for, but his next actions would soon silence the entire restaurant. Dayla leaned closer to Howard, her voice a soft murmur of concern. "Maybe we should just go." But Howard, ever resilient, gently shook his head. "No. We made a reservation, and tonight is about us." Tyler returned, 2 glasses of water in hand, one half full, the other noticeably chipped, a petty insult thinly veiled as service. "No cake, no candles. Just policy," he smirked, adding with a theatrical flourish, "health code." Howard's eyes, which had held a quiet anticipation for his wife's surprise, dimmed with disappointment. He had specifically asked for a small candle to accompany her birthday treat. Each slight, each demeaning word, was a deliberate erosion of their dignity, a calculated act of disrespect designed to make them feel small and unwelcome in a space that promised elegance. Across the room, the man in the charcoal grey coat, who had quietly absorbed every cutting remark, slowly stood. The gentle echo of his shoes on the marble floor was the only sound as he began to walk towards them, still unnoticed by the oblivious Tyler. "Excuse me," Tyler barked, turning abruptly, his voice sharp with misplaced authority. "This area is reserved." But the man didn't slow. Instead, with a tender grace, he gently placed a hand on his mother's shoulder. "Happy birthday, Mom," he said, his voice a calm, resonant anchor in the swirling tension. The room went still. Then, a gasp rippled through the stunned silence. Tyler froze, his smug expression crumbling as he stammered. "Wait, you're with them." The man turned, his demeanor calm, utterly controlled. He removed his coat, revealing the stark formality of a black judicial robe underneath. Gasps rippled through the restaurant, quickly followed by whispers. A customer's voice, hushed yet clear, cut through the quiet. "That's Judge Malcolm Carter from Charleston County." Tyler stumbled backward, his face draining of color. I didn't know," he stammered, his bravado utterly shattered. Judge Carter's reply was quiet, precise, and devastatingly profound. "You didn't care. You saw 2 elders and assumed less." The restaurant manager, a figure of frantic apology, rushed over. "Sir, we deeply apologize." Judge Carter held up a hand, a gesture of quiet authority that immediately commanded attention. "I wasn't here to make a scene," he stated, his voice resonating with an unshakable dignity. "I was here to celebrate my parents' 45th anniversary." Then, his gaze, unwavering and direct, locked onto Tyler. He reached into his coat and pulled out a sealed envelope, the next words shattering Tyler's confidence entirely. "This," Judge Carter said, handing the envelope to the trembling manager, "is the termination of your contract with Charleston County Judicial Affairs. Effective immediately." Gasps turned to murmurs, and a woman at table 6 instinctively began recording the unfolding drama. "But sir, our gala tonight." The manager stammered, his voice filled with despair. "Will be held elsewhere," Carter replied, his decision absolute. "This place no longer represents the dignity we require." Tyler's face drained of all color, and the waiter behind him slowly, instinctively, stepped away, distancing himself from the sudden, profound downfall. Dayla, her eyes brimming with a complex mix of pride and tenderness, reached for her son's hand. "You didn't have to do that, Malcolm." "I did," he said, his gaze still fixed forward, carrying the weight of countless past injustices. Because I remember every room where you were made to feel small. Howard, his quiet strength affirmed, stood tall beside them. Together, the three of them walked out, not with loud pronouncements, but with a quiet, undeniable presence that made them larger than anyone remaining in the suddenly diminished room. Outside, the evening air was cool and quiet, a cleansing balm. Judge Carter paused at the curb, pulling a single white rose from his coat and handing it to his mother. "No speeches, no drama," he said softly, "just presents." Behind them, the lights still glowed inside Magnolia Prime, but at the center table, a folded napkin, embroidered with the initials MC, remained, a silent monument to the moment. Inside, Tyler slumped against the wall, the bitter taste of realization filling his mouth too late. He had humiliated a man of profound influence, a man who, with quiet dignity, had brought down an entire operation. Howard turned once, looking through the glass, and whispered, "They finally see us." Not because they raised their voices, but because they didn't need to. In that profound stillness, truth had its loudest, most resonant moment.